Hello everyone, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. We're Tom and Melissa. We sure do appreciate that you have come to sit at the table with us today. We are going to make a very simple candy for our video today. We've actually had this recipe for over a year, but we have saved it because we wanted to do it when the weather was kind of hot outside and you didn't want to heat up your kitchen, because this is a no-bake, no-cook candy. Very simple to do, very few ingredients, but I'm almost sure this is going to be delicious. Now, of course, today is Sunday, so you know we're doing a Sunday Subscriber Series recipe. This recipe was sent to us from Susan Breedlove in Springfield, Oregon. Now, Susan actually has sent us a few recipes in 2 different batches, but this one really caught my attention because it's so easy to do and it's great for this time of year if you want to make some candy. These are called cow pies. I think I know where that name came from. I was raised on a farm. Actually, my dad was a pastor, but we had farm animals the whole time I was growing up. So I know where that name came from. And I'm not sure why somebody would name a candy cow pies. But that's what they're called. And I'm sure they're going to be delicious.
If we can get through this without laughing anymore.
Just to be honest, Melissa and I have laughed about this. Just setting this up, we've laughed about it because it just sounds kind of funny. But you know what? Who cares what they're called if they're delicious, right? Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to use to make our cow pies. We're going to start with 2 cups of milk chocolate chips. Now, let me tell you that in Susan's recipe, it says to put these in the top of a double boiler and melt them over boiling water. And you can do that. But because it's hot, it's August, I'm going to melt them in the microwave. I know that will work just fine because other recipes that I have where it tells me to melt chocolate in a double boiler, I do it in the microwave and it still works just fine. If you don't have a microwave, just put a saucepan with some water in it on your stove, bring it to a boil, set your bowl on top of your saucepan. Make sure it sets up high on the saucepan. It's not down in the water. Put your milk chocolate chips in, or whatever chocolate you're using, in there, and just stir it constantly until those are melted. But if you have a microwave, it makes really short work of this and you won't have to use any kind of heat. So 2 cups of chocolate chips. To that, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of shortening. And I'm using Crisco. You can see that I've already used the end off of it for another recipe, but we just need to cut off 1 tablespoon. Now on the edge of the package, you can see the lines marked off showing you how much a tablespoon is. So we're going to cut right there just to get 1 tablespoon. Once we get our chocolate and our shortening melted together and stirred together, then we're just going to stir in 1/2 cup of raisins, 1/2 cup of slivered almonds, and 1/4 cup of sweetened coconut flakes. Now, Susan's recipe does say for the coconut flakes, you can use 1/4 to 1/2 cup. I had 1/2 cup measured out, and then I thought, okay, there's probably a reason that it says 1/4 to 1/2 cup. If you put in the whole 1/2 cup, it might make it too thick and then it won't be like a cookie. So I'm going to start with 1/4. That's probably all I'm putting in, but you can go up to 1/2 cup if you want. Now guys, this is really easy and it's going to be really short. All we have to do is put our chips in our bowl. I'm going to cut off 1 tablespoon of our shortening.
You know, I don't think she said, but I'm sure you could probably use a dark chocolate or semi-sweet probably.
I see no reason why you couldn't do that. I think you can use whatever chocolate you like. So if you prefer semi-sweet chocolate, use that. If you prefer dark chocolate, Get dark chocolate chips and use that.
You can probably do that with a lot of these ingredients, actually.
Oh, I think so. I think I don't know. This is the first time I've ever made these. I do know that this recipe is out there because I've seen it in cookbooks and things, but I've never made it before. But I have seen that people have said there are a lot of variations. If you want to, in place of the raisins, you can use dried cherries or dried cranberries. In place of the almonds, you can use your favorite nut, whatever it is, pecans, walnuts, whatever you like.
But this is the way she sent us the recipe, right?
This is exactly what she sent to us. And when I make a recipe for the first time, I've told you before, I try my best to make it the way the recipe says. The second time, I might switch it up a little bit. But today we're making it just the way she said. So I'm putting these in the microwave on high for 30 seconds. I will stir it. We'll put it back in for another 30, stir it again, and keep going until it's melted. I don't think it's going to take maybe a minute, but we'll keep doing that until we get it melted, and then we'll come back and stir everything else together. Our chocolate was in the microwave for 1 minute, 20 seconds, and it is pretty much melted. There are some little specks of chips in there that haven't melted, but if you'll just stir this around for just a few seconds, the residual heat from that melted chocolate will melt the rest of those little pieces.
What's the purpose of the Crisco in there?
The Crisco just smooths it out, gives it a little bit of a shine.
Makes it prettier.
It does. Makes it prettier, makes it shinier, makes it look more like a candy. And you wouldn't necessarily have to do that, but I think you should. I just think it makes it better. All right. So we're going in with our raisins. Now, I think I mentioned you could do dried cherries or dried cranberries, but you could also do my favorite, which is golden raisins. That would be delicious in here. All right, we're going in with our slivered almonds. And again, you use the nut that you like best. And we're going in with our 1/4 cup of coconut. Now, we just want to stir all of that together. You want to make sure everything is coated. Oh my goodness, this looks good.
I'm thinking this is a lot like a candy bar we've had before.
You know what? I think you're right.
I'm not exactly sure.
I think it's called, I'm thinking about the Cadbury Fruit and Nut.
I think, yes. Took me a second. Well, actually, it took me longer than that because you actually came up with it, but
I think this is very similar to it because I know it's milk chocolate, and I'm 100% sure it has raisins in it. So,
and with raisins, that kind of makes it healthy, right? I'm trying here. I'm trying.
Hey, I'm all for that. You're not going to get an argument out of me. I'm fine with making candy healthy. All right. Now, you can just do this with a spoon if you want, or if you have a scoop and you want to use a scoop, you can do that. But you just need to put them on some waxed paper or some parchment paper, which is what I'm using.
And you're kind of spreading them out, right?
Yes, I'm putting it down and then I'm just kind of spreading them a little bit because you want it to look kind of like a cookie, a piece of candy or a cookie. So I'm just spreading them out. You can, of course, make them the size you want. If you want little teeny tiny ones, that's fine. Use a smaller scoop or use a small spoon. Make them the way you want to. Now, these are, of course, not going to spread any more than what you spread them because we're not baking them. We're not doing anything else to them. In fact, we can just leave them sit right here on the counter and allow them to harden. Or we can stick them in the refrigerator and let them harden in the refrigerator. You know, if you've been around here a while, patience is not my virtue. So I'm probably going to stick them in the refrigerator. You know what? I really thought about saving this recipe until Christmas.
But it's perfect for a hot time of the year like this.
It is, and that's why I went ahead and put it on our schedule to use because, well, the reason that I thought about Christmas was everybody loves a good chocolate candy at Christmas.
It would be perfect with cherries at at Christmas
Oh
time.
my goodness, it would be so good with dried cherries. But I just decided we needed to use it while the temperatures were so hot outside, since this is no cook, no bake, and it would be really good for this time of year. All right, I'm about finished here. I don't want to make these too big because I don't want somebody to get a piece and say, oh my gosh, I can't finish all that. That's just too much. So I'm trying not to overdo it, but my nature is to fill the scoop full. All right, I'm gonna move my spoon out of there so I can scoop this out. I'm gonna say, what have we got there? 11 so far? Oh, we're gonna get more than a dozen. That's nice. There's a dozen. How about a baker's dozen?
Always a good plan.
Okay, there's 13. So we got a baker's dozen. And you know, I'm gonna scrape that bowl out. But that'll be a little treat for us. Right, babe?
Right.
Okay.
Licking the bowl.
So, I am gonna stick these in the refrigerator.
Or freezer, which one?
No, I'm gonna do did I say freezer earlier?
I think so. You just said the refrigerator.
I'm gonna do the refrigerator. I'm not sticking them in the freezer. I'm gonna put these in the refrigerator for maybe 5 minutes or so, see if they set up, and then we'll come back and try one. Well, our cow pies have been in the refrigerator for several minutes, and they are ready to eat. You ready, babe?
Absolutely. Definitely like the candy bar.
Very much like the candy bar. I love the fruit.
I like the coconut.
You probably like the coconut better in it than I do.
I'm sure. And not, it's not everybody that loves coconut.
I like coconut.
But if you do, you're going to like that.
I like coconut. You just like it more than I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, with that amount of chocolate, you could still stir in more ingredients. I would definitely stir in some dried cranberries or dried cherries.
Ooh, I think cherries would be really good with that.
Cherries would be delicious in this, dried cherries. I would probably even stir in some more nuts. Either some more almonds or add a second kind. Maybe some pecans or walnuts would be really good in this. But with that amount of chocolate, you could definitely add more ingredients than what's in it. Those are really good.
They are. They're really nice.
Now, Susan's instructions do say to store these in the refrigerator. So after they have set up, you'd probably want to move them to some kind of a sealed box or some kind of a container. And you could layer them maybe with some wax paper or parchment paper between the layers. So you do need to keep them refrigerated until you're ready to serve them. Susan, we sure do appreciate you sending this recipe to us. This is one we will use over and over.
That's
In
a funny
fact, what?
It's a funny one.
It is. But my gosh, how easy is that? You melt some chocolate and stir these ingredients in and spoon it out.
Perfect for this time of year.
Absolutely perfect. We've already decided we're sharing these. We're not keeping all of these because I would eat every bite of it. I love chocolate. So we will be sharing them. But Susan, we really do appreciate you sending in that recipe. If you have a recipe that is tried and true, we want a recipe that you've made and that your family loves, you can send that to us and we will consider using it on our Sunday subscriber series. All you have to do is go right below this video, find the description box, and you're going to see the title, Cow Pies. If you click anywhere in that box, it will expand. You'll find the written recipe for this recipe. Under that recipe, you will find our mailing address. You can send any recipes you want to us at that mailing address. It's a post office box. Also, under that mailing address, you will find an Amazon link where you can order our cookbook. This cookbook has 407, I believe, of my favorite recipes in it. Well, okay, I have thousands of favorite recipes, but these recipes in here are some of my favorites. If you are interested in that, just click on that Amazon link and it'll take you to that page. Also, right below this video, there's a thumbs up. That's called the like button. We would appreciate you clicking that. If you haven't before, we invite you to click the subscribe button. There's a little notification bell right beside of it. If you click it in the word all, YouTube will notify you every time we add a new video. When you click that subscribe button, it's totally free. We like to say it gives you a seat at our table and you'll be subscribed from now on. You only have to do that once. Also, at the very bottom of the page, there's a place where you can leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. So please go down there and just leave us a little comment and we'll do our best to try to reply to as many as we can. Thank you again for watching, and Susan, thank you again for sending in the recipe. We want you to remember that you are always welcome to come sit at my table. Have a great day.